Okay, this is the starter replacement on a 1987 BMW M6 with the S38 engine. I would imagine that the 635 CSI is probably very similar. I have removed the old starter, it's there. I've removed the air intake manifold. That gives access to the starter, and I'm going to really show you a couple of tips and tricks that make this job a little bit easier. First and foremost is to make yourself a socket. This is a 17 millimeter socket that has been cut down to 5/8 of an inch deep. Also on top of that is a little wobble extension, and then on top of that is one of these little wrench flat grabbers. You could probably do without that, but it makes it a little bit easier to get to because you've got two 17 millimeter bolts. One is right there. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, and you can see it's kind of recessed back in behind the starter housing. So by grinding that socket down, it lets you slip the socket on, and you just want to loosen it about 2 turns, or else the socket will bottom out back here. And you can, and WD-40 is your friend. You can spray a little WD-40 in there and just loosen it at first. The other one, I'm going to put the camera down there. I don't know if it'll pick it up, but the other one is right there, and so it's all the way under the starter. You also want to use that 17 millimeter to reach to it. When you remove this manifold, there are just these 12 nuts that reside along on all the throttle bodies, and there's little washers underneath them. These are steel wave washers, and you want to use a magnet like this to pluck those off of there, otherwise they're all going to drop down in there. No big deal, you can pick them up from under the car or wherever they go. So you've got this hose that comes up from your idle control valve. You've got this hose here that comes over from the oil cover like this that goes into your intake manifold. So you want to take those 2 hoses loose. Then you've got this guy underneath here that goes back to your dipstick. It's just a crankcase vent tube, and it doesn't have a hose clamp underneath it under the manifold, so you can just work it and pull it off. Squirt a little WD-40 on it if you have to, but go ahead and pull that off. So that'll let you get the manifold off. The other thing that's important when you're taking the manifold off, if you notice that duct tape there, that's not for a hole. The manifold has a tendency, particularly if you're a little sloppy or ham-fisted, of bouncing against some of the parts under the hood, and it'll scratch up the manifold. So the duct tape is there, it's just for protection. And here is this part I was just telling you about with the little grabby things that pull there. And of course you'll have to take the little accordion hose between the mass airflow sensor and the intake manifold off as well. So this thing comes off very easily. It weighs about 10-12 pounds, so it's a little heavy picking it up. And here is the old starter. I won't go into how you test it. This one was working fine, but there's some wear here on this engagement gear, and I was getting a severe grinding noise most times when I turned the key, so that wasn't good. You can see there's the bolt holes that the bolt go in. So pretty straightforward process. You'll need a 10 millimeter wrench. These little stovies are nice for just generally working around on an engine. And the other thing you might want to do is just take a flashlight and a mechanic's mirror and look in the hole when you relieve the starter from the hole, and just check the teeth on your flywheel to see how it looks. So that's it. It's a pretty straightforward job. Also a nice time to kind of clean some of the other stuff up if you care to, as I have on this engine, and send some stuff out for replating and all that good stuff. So good luck, and hope your starter problems are soon behind you.